Welcome back to another edition of the Industry Insider, your promotional products podcast where you can get all the nerdy news you need to know about. And I'm Jeff Franklin, the National Accounts Manager for Headwear USA, one of your hosts. And I'm joined by only two folks today. We are missing our favorite Meg Erber today. So, guys, if you're a Meg Erber fan, sorry. She'll be back next week. Anyhow, joined today by Stephen McFadden from Perfect Promotions and More. How are you, Steve?
Hey, doing well.
Awesome.
I noticed that we're not as attractive as a group as we normally are, but we'll be okay.
Well, especially with our special guest joining us, Brendan Pecharich.
He brings it down
just a little bit, but hopefully he'll be able to kick us off. Brendan, say hello to the folks. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing well. How's everybody out there in the podcast world?
We're doing good.
I didn't hear any responses. Crickets. Is this where we bring on the soundboard and just have the crickets chirping? No, that's awesome. Awesome to have you. Well, first off, look, we're brought to you today by PromoShow.com. PromoShow's got their second theme trade show coming up, and it's going to be held on July 28th from 11 to 3 Eastern. And it's going to feature products made in the USA. So, look, if you're looking for USA made products, definitely check it out. Promo Show is a great way for distributors to meet face to face. Camera to camera, of course, with suppliers to talk about current projects and great ideas, or to get ideas for, how to sell in the current climate, which is clearly something that everybody's, trying to figure out how to do right now. So distributors go to promoshow.com and click on the Made in the USA banner to register. Suppliers email sales@promocorner.com if you're interested in a booth. Promoshow.com, the entire industry virtually. And I think that's actually what we're going to talk about quite a bit today as well.
Yeah, it's very relevant.
Since Brandon is with PromoCorner, and we've got a lot of PromoCorner stuff that we can discuss, and we've got definitely a lot of Promo Show stuff that we can discuss as well. It's been a great sort of springboard or platform for, the situation and the climate, as was mentioned. So, Brandon, before we get into all that, why don't you just give us sort of a brief rundown of who you are, what you do, what you're passionate about, what you're on fire for, why you get up every day, French press or regular coffee, like whatever, man. Tell us. You got 3 to 4 minutes. After that, I'm cutting you off and we just kill the podcast. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I love it when you do that to guests. So I'm honored to have the timestamp put on me as well. I am a French press guy. That is what gets me up in the morning.
Yes.
But my name is Brandon Pecharich. I've been in the industry for just over 15 years.
I always say your name wrong. Holy shit. I apologize. Brandon,
That's okay.
Pecharich.
I actually did a speech for at SKUCon this last year, and I opened up with describing how to pronounce my last name. And so I always say that you pronounce my last name like church, the CHs are like church. And so the problem is in America, we always try to change the first CH to a K sound. So when I was younger, I had a very interesting nickname, and you guys can figure all that out if you make the first CH a K. So it is Pecharich. So I love everything about the promo industry. I've been on the distributor side, supplier side, both big and small companies. I literally got into it because I was babysitting for my neighbor, and he bought a bunch of embroidery machines, and I started running embroidery machines. So that everybody always talks about how they fell into the industry. That's my quick little story. I am currently with PromoCorner, and I am their digital media director. Basically what that means is I create a bunch of videos and I help everybody else make their videos look good online. So that's what I do now. That's what I'm doing here today, and we'll see what happens. What's up, Steve?
I have a question. What is PromoCorner? Because we always see them Facebook and stuff, but can you give us a little bit of outline, like what do they do and how can people utilize them?
So we're a digital marketing company in the promotional products industry. So basically we help suppliers and distributors have one place to come together. So suppliers can send us all of their collateral, their digital catalogs, their flyers, any type of specials or their content. And we have a place that they can host it. And then we've got an awesome little platform for distributors called Promo Plus, where they're able to actually take all of that collateral that is then end user friendly and send it out to their customers and get awesome reports back as to who's opening that stuff up so that they can go out there and close some sales.
Very nice.
Very cool.
So, Brandon, I just want to let you know that there was somebody that chimed in from the promo world. So you're not all alone. It's not all crickets. So the joke's on Steven and I. Mandy Rudd chimes in, actually. The people of all people says she's doing great. So there you go, sir. It's not all crickets.
That's
So,
awesome.
tell us a bit about Promo Show. Obviously, you guys did the first one because the one that's coming up is the second themed trade show. And so the first one was the Great Outdoors. Can you give us some stats or figures on how that went and why people should really, like, if they're not honed in on this, why they should sort of look into it a little bit further?
Yeah, absolutely. So Promo Show is an everyday show. So the hardest part for me right now is to try and convince people that it isn't just a limited amount of time. It's literally going on all the time. It's living on a website. However, we have tried to focus our attention onto themed events. And like you alluded to, we had one just last month, which was called the Great Outdoor Show. It was fantastic. We had over 400 distributors pre-register. We had just under 300 actually show up and come and walk the show floor. And it's really nice because distributors can come to Promo Show and they can scroll through all of the suppliers that have booths. They have all types of collateral in there. Suppliers have catalogs and flyers that are digitally put in there. They have recorded content, which is some of their videos, or if they've recorded themselves doing a webinar. So distributors have a bunch of stuff that they can look at from the supplier. And then the amazing part that makes it so awesome in this climate, the selling climate that we're in right now, is you are able to actually directly talk to the supplier if they are active in their booth. You can chat with them. You can have a one-on-one video meeting. Or if you're a supplier, you can go right in there and go into what's called Meet All and meet every single distributor that comes into your booth. Then there's a bunch of other like pro level stuff like private meetings and obviously with the themed events that we're doing. But with the Great Outdoors Show, what was awesome to see was to see all of the different ways that the suppliers set their booths up behind them. So it wasn't like Zoom where we have fake backgrounds or, sitting on the good old couch here. They were actually setting up full booths with all of their products behind them, the actual products. So when they were talking to distributors, they'd reach back and show everybody the product that they were talking about. It was so cool to get to see suppliers get back into their element and have distributors be informed whether they're selling that stuff right now or not. I know that that's kind of the struggle, right? Where if you're not doing PPE, are you even really selling anything? So we're kind of struggling, but being on top of the education of the products is never going to go away. Whether you're selling it or not, you should always be educated as to what suppliers sell what. And I think that was the main draw and the biggest takeaway from everybody who attended and exhibited at Promo Show, Great Outdoor Show. Yeah.
And you have another themed event coming up?
We do. So we actually have 3 more scheduled for the rest of this year. The next one coming up is Made in the USA. It was actually the sponsor of this podcast. So what's nice about that one is it's going to be suppliers that have products that are made in the USA. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of suppliers out there that are 100% made in the USA, but you do have to have the majority of your products that are made here. So that'll be a kind of a fun theme. One of the things between the 2 shows as well, because nobody's done any of these virtual style shows like we just tried to do last month, we had a bunch of changes from the Great Outdoors over to the Made in the USA show. So we really, really helped the suppliers and distributors be able to navigate way easier inside of Promo Show once you get into the booth. So it's a lot easier to figure out how to start chatting with the supplier. If you're a supplier, you can actually chat with the distributor even soon as they enter your booth. We have a lot of new features that are going to make it a lot smoother.
Very cool. So Made in the USA, that's sort of an interesting topic. A lot of stuff, I guess, we're trying to bring more stuff back to being made in the USA, but there's still so much that's imported. Even though 70% of the value add, I know when we do like Legislative Education Action Day lead with PPAI, one of the big focuses that they talk about quite a bit, or at least in the last couple of years, has been, look, we, even though this stuff is being imported. 70% of the value is being added here in the States. We put the logo and the brand on it. There's jobs and, all kinds of stuff that's being added and supported here. It's just the raw product that's being produced and imported. And so, how do you feel about, made in the USA and, as a topic for promo show? And because obviously now with the debate with China and everything else, like, a lot more folks are potentially even looking for made in the USA. So I think it's a great place for people to come to and just to find those sources, because they're kind of difficult to find, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the education part, right? So we know that it's tough as a distributor to go and talk to a bunch of people that are in, spending freezes. And so I'm looking more for this show to be, oh, I didn't know that supplier had a line that was made here in the USA. So if I have a customer that's requesting it, or it's Chinese New Year and I'm in a pinch for that bag, I can go to that supplier and get that stuff. Or, if I don't have the 14 days, maybe they've got it in stock or can produce it quickly for me. So I'm really hoping that that's what distributors get out of this show is just the list of suppliers that are ready and willing and here in the States. Not saying that it's good, bad, or indifferent, right? I love a world economy. I don't think we sustain as human beings without a world economy, but just as a pure educational point, I think it's good just to have that option that you could go local or country. You can stay inside your country if need be.
Well, listen, I mean, I think there's a really big benefit to sort of diversifying a little bit and understanding what your options are out there. I mean, look at how many people have been absolutely hammered by this pandemic because they weren't diversified enough. They weren't in enough markets. They weren't in, they didn't have a diverse enough supplier base or what have you. And, there's some people that have been able to benefit because of that. And there's been some people that have actually taken some pretty heavy hits during this pandemic. So if for nothing else, it's a great opportunity to be educated and to have those sources like you had mentioned, because if you ask me to try to find a USA product, there's only a couple people I know about. So I think it's a huge opportunity for people to at least get that information. Steven, as a distributor, what do you think?
Yeah. And I don't think it's I hope nobody thinks it's a knock on non-made in the USA. I think, the platform is great. If it was a drinkware show and you didn't do drinkware, well, then you wouldn't be at the show, right? So this is a made in the USA segment. And I think it's good to be able to have these categories and these themes to focus different supplier bases, with what their strength may be and what their different perks are. I think it's one of those categories, made in the USA. We've talked about it a couple times, I know. And, for us, it doesn't really come up, but if it does, I don't know where I'd go. I'd probably end up doing some Sage searches and, things to figure it out. So, well, I'll probably tune in and check it out and get an idea of like who's available and what the perks are. I know one of the biggest kicks, we've always heard about made in the USA. If it's the same product as something you could get overseas, you're going to pay a lot more for it. You're going to have that premium because it's made in the USA. But maybe there's some changes that I don't know about, and maybe there's some new things out there, and so I'm willing to take a look at it. I think that's a great tool and a resource for us to check out. Why not, right? So I'm excited to see it and to see what the other themes are too, to figure out what's now on the horizon. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of an interesting point especially if you're in a price situation. And a lot of times, like, that's obviously not great, but not everybody is selling on price.
Sure.
I mean, there's some people that focus 100% of their business is USA made. They're selling to unions or whatever, and that's like they have to have USA made products for sure. So that's another opportunity, Stephen. Even for yourself, you could go and find out some other sources and see if there's some different folks you could potentially sell into with those sources. And if you look at it this way, if it costs 3 times as much for the product, that's 3 times the invoice as well. You might be able to make more money. And this is a guy that imports 100% of his stuff from China. Okay, so listen, I'm kind of selling against myself here, but it's good to have options.
I do think that's kind of a bubble way of thinking about it, though, and I don't mean that in a rude way, but to think that we're the only ones that have that option in our industry, where it's everyone has the same stuff, and your pitch usually isn't the actual product. It's the distribution, or it's the design, or it's the create, the buzzword that everyone hates, the creativity that goes around the actual product. If someone comes to me and it is apples to apples, and the only difference is made in the USA or not made in the USA, and the price is 10 versus 3, if the product's the same, that's a very hard thing to do. If it's a little different, it depends on what people value, though, right? And I think that's really where we get into. If someone does say, I do value it $7 more, and I'm willing to pay for it, I'll sell it to you. So
yeah.
And so that's
Stephen, that's my sales pitch. I understand.
I actually was reading your script, an email you sent me.
Yeah, it sounded really familiar.
Check is in the mail.
But I like it. I do like knowing that there's other options, right? And I think that's, you mentioned the diversification. We've gone back and forth on that. I won't get into that too much, but diversifying from a supplier standpoint, I think is a good idea. Everyone thinks about their customer diversification, but we don't really think about your supplier diversification. If you run those reports and you realize, man, I did 80% of my business with 3 suppliers, it's like, that's not very, you do need to protect yourself in a lot of ways, and constantly, redoing those, figuring out if you have relationships and partnerships, and, what you can do to add value to your customers, and looking for what's new. And it doesn't do you any good to stay with the same people forever. I know that sounds terrible from a relationship standpoint, because unless they're continually evolving, if the supplier is evolving and they're still providing those values, obviously keep that relationship and keep moving. But it doesn't do you any good to ignore new suppliers and new benefits and new people coming to market. And that's something I hope, especially nowadays where it's very tough to go meet those people and have them into the office, where Promo Show can give us that outlet. So
that's a really interesting perspective, I think, because, when you think about it, you've got a lot of people, that will basically have an enormous supplier base. They'll buy product from anybody, and they'll only spend $100 with, 1,000 different suppliers a year because they've bought product from everywhere. So there's a lot of folks that are actually trying to consolidate their supplier base, but then you got folks that will literally only sell Sanmar and HIT. You know what I mean? So I think you should be somewhere in the middle for sure. And right. It's a very interesting point. So Brandon, what I know we're getting a little bit off a topic. We're more talking about, I guess, the actual theme of the trade show, as opposed to, the actual trade show itself. Can you give us some stats about the last trade show, or any good information that you can give us outside of what you've already shared with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I talked a little bit about the pre-registers. There was just over 400. Actually, I think it was over 450. And then the actual people that showed up to the show, that actually walked the show floor, was just under 300. So it was really nice. It was well attended. I think because it was new, I'm not quite sure that the initial rush of distributors, which that was a conversation we were having internally, is like at a ASI or a PPAI show physically, right? You have the ribbon coming, the balloons fall, and everybody just comes rushing in, and there's that first wave. We were kind of laughing, like, is it going to be like that? Because this is online, because are we just going to all of a sudden have a bunch of people? And sure
Did you
enough,
have the national anthem? Like to do it?
Did you do that virtually? A video playing for everybody on their screen with little balloons falling down?
Come on over to the USA show and find out what we have at the beginning of the show.
Fireworks.
Funny you should mention that.
I want a flyover. Can you arrange a flyover at all?
Do like on the screen, just a gif of planes flying across? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
I actually could. All right. I appreciate that, Stephen. That's happening. Making that happen.
I want my initials on one of the wings, if you could. Just like it.
Mike Rossi chimes in, says #Merca.
Yes.
All right.
But yeah, no, it's going to be awesome. I mean, the show itself, because of all the new features that we put in there, because you're able to connect with the supplier immediately, or you're able to jump in and they're just going to be in a video doing walkthroughs like they're in a booth. And because of the chat box, you're going to be able to chat with those suppliers right away as they're doing their presentation. I mean, I think it's just one of those things that we're always looking for, that human touch, right? I mean, I've been sitting in front or behind a camera for so long, like this is natural to me to talk into that little dot at the top of my computer. But for a lot of people, it's not. And I think for the past 3 months, we finally have trained ourselves that that's okay, that little dot isn't the CIA, that little dot actually does some really cool stuff. And we're taking the awesome technology that we've got, and we're taking our amazing industry, and we're putting them together in one place. And I hope that people get used to seeing that, because we literally just had a meeting yesterday internally at PromoCorner, and this is going to keep going on. We have planned 12 full shows for next year, 1 a month, and we're going to keep it going. So I think it's awesome how when the number one word and themed word was pivot, PromoCorner was in a position digitally to be able to just keep going on our track and start really pushing the products that we've already currently got. And I think Promo Show, with the way that it's set up and with users, both suppliers and distributors coming together in one spot. I mean, for me, I wake up in the morning and I get on Facebook first, Twitter next, Instagram, and then I read this guy that it's a financial thing called Morning Brew. And that's my routine. Now part of my routine is once it hits 9 o'clock, I'm at my computer and Promo Show is up on a separate window. And so it's just become my routine. And I'm really hoping that the industry takes this virtual thing further, even when we do start meeting face to face again. I want us to be able to keep in connection, because I love that I'm able to reach anybody at any time. If my friends in the industry want to come find me, guess what they do? They come to Promo Show and they're instantly looking at me.
I've done that. I've come to hunt you down on there.
Exactly.
And don't lie, you've got at least 10, 15 minutes of that morning routine for fashion, don't you?
Every time I try to come into Brandon's room, he always blocks me from coming in for some reason. Like, I feel so rejected.
You keep changing your email address too.
So Mandy did chime in and say specifically PPE made in the USA is huge. She's getting asked for that a ton lately. Lori Moore with PromoCorner also obviously said, national anthem. What a great idea. I think you guys got to work that in for the Made in the USA live trade show for sure. And then Walter Kurt chimes in, says, might be hard to find those live fireworks, warning on the packaging. So, Brandon, you've got your work cut out for you. Anything else that you guys want to discuss? Any more that you want to talk about PromoCorner related outside of the promo show?
The only question I have, obviously I know we know Bill's left PromoCorner, and, you guys obviously are going to be, picking up and moving forward, and you've got a lot of stuff. What type of changes have you guys had in PromoCorner? What are you guys excited about for the future? And if you want to give any insight as to that as well.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's a big name, right? So it's a big name, a big leap, but at the same time, PromoCorner has been around since 1999. It's been doing digital marketing since then. It was the first one to really push email marketing in the industry before email marketing was a thing. And so I really do feel that the leaders over at PromoCorner with Joel and Lori Moore, they're always pushing the envelope as to what's next. I think you guys can kind of and help me out and back me up on this, but our industry is always about like a year to 2 years behind what is actually going on in the real world in terms of technology and selling and stuff. This is the first time that our industry is actually keeping up with everybody. So with virtual trade shows, with things that are done online, with email marketing, with getting in touch with everybody digitally, our industry is on par and actually excelling faster than other industries because we were nimble enough to be able to do so. And PromoCorner has been a perfect vehicle for that. I've loved working for them for just over the 3 years that I've been there. But yeah, I mean, the future looks awesome. We check out we're talking about a little bit of diversity in suppliers. We've always kind of had the same few people writing articles for us and putting out content. We're putting out a ton new content. So I actually am going to put this out in the airwaves. I've been emailing you three, and Meg, I hope you're watching this later, but I have been emailing you three, telling you how proud I am and how awesome it is to be a part of what you guys are doing here. This is the first podcast that I felt it's not just the same show day in, day out. It's not just the same one over and over again, whether it's through a name change or whether it's through a person change or different guests. It's always a different show and it's always entertaining. And you guys have been able to take your show from what it was before, where you guys would batch everything and everybody's busy and your schedules would come together, and then be able to flip it up and go live when you were in Vegas, which I thought was awesome. And then when everybody gets locked down and shut in their house, you guys didn't miss a beat. You kept going, you figured it out, and you've kept this show going. And so I want to say congratulations to you guys. An awesome job for keeping this podcast and keeping it relevant on PromoCorner and keeping PromoCorner relevant through it. So thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Get that a lot. Yeah.
Absolutely. So any other things, Steven, you want to mention or add, or?
No, it's been great. And, you know, I had it's funny Brandon mentions that, because I went back through and looked at like what some of our first podcasts were the other day. I was like, man, this changed a lot, you know, because now we're video and live. And, you know, the first two, I think it was like the first 2 or 3, it was just 3 people. And then, you know, we added Meg, and then it's evolved, and we've had, I think it's like 25 or more guests since January, between, you know, different Vegas appearances and people spotlighted, you know, even last year and this year. So it's just come full circle, and it's been
that
great.
many already?
I think it's like 23 guests.
Good Lord.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Time flies.
So yeah, it's been a lot of weeks since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's true. Very true.
But yeah, no, appreciate all the work you do behind the scenes, Brandon. And we wanted to have you on here to give you a platform as well, because we really appreciate everything you've done. You know, a lot of people don't even know what's going on behind the scenes with, you know, running a show like this. But we certainly appreciate you as well. So thank you.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I was going to say, when you were talking about, you know, our industry sort of being a couple of years behind sort of what's happening in the real world, I was going to say that I feel like that window has actually shrunk a lot. And then you said it right away. So, you know, we're actually, you know, on par with what's happening, which is awesome.
Necessity creates urgency. So
100%.
Yeah.
And so now in regards to Promo Show, do you ever see, you know, that being just the virtual trade show platform and getting rid of the daily routine, or what do you see for that? Because I know you guys put out a lot of surveys and things like that. I've answered a few things. I'm, you know, I have my own personal take on things, but I'm interested to sort of see what you're getting back from the volume of folks.
Yeah. So internally, we've kind of talked a little bit, and obviously the future is uncertain. We have no idea. I mean, at one point in time, Texas looked like it was open, and now we're shut down again. So I think where I see the future of Promo Show is obviously the themed events where everybody comes together. And then I do see distributors, and maybe even larger distributors and regional associations, using Promo Show for their trade shows and for their meetings and for larger get-togethers, because it is an industry and an industry related virtual setup, right? You don't have to go set up a Zoom meeting and get everybody and make sure everybody's sending emails 10 minutes before we're supposed to be link. It's just all in one area, right? So I think that I see it becoming something that is going to be more themed and more, you know, scheduled. But then where I see its superpower is we've already created a link where suppliers can actually embed it on their website. And so I see this becoming a customer service tool, where a customer service representative inside of the supplier is sitting there, and a distributor can go to their website, click, answer a question or ask a question, and get a customer service representative in either a chat box or a video box, and instantly hammer out the problem.
So sort of like Zendesk, but like a face-to-face Zendesk. That's awesome.
Exactly. That's where I see Promo Show's power for the future. So
I like
that's
that.
Amazing.
Actually.
That's great.
Yeah, I really like that. If there's, I mean, I don't know that every supplier would be technologically savvy enough, or not that it really requires a ton of technology, but I think that, like, if that's a feature, like, how does that get added in or whatever? Like, I'm very interested in that. That's really cool. Like, that's an interesting.
Yeah, no, we have the option where people can, you know, ask a question, and then I can get a text. Like, I can have it sent directly to me, and so I can answer it via text. But if a customer was on the website and wanted to just immediately get me, and all of a sudden I can click a button and be on a face-to-face with them. That's pretty cool. I mean, that's changing. That's game changing. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Boom.
So do you guys, do you happen to know where we might be able to find some USA made products by any chance? Like
probably in the United States.
Well, that would be a very, very fair assessment, but I'm thinking something a little bit more specific than just the grand old United States, potentially virtually. I don't know. Like, do you guys have a website or like maybe a trade show that only features USA made products?
Yeah. If there was like a show.
Is it like a promo show, you think? Is that like a...
That's an interesting name. I like that one.
You know what? Why don't we just open up the browser now? Like, while you guys are watching, like open up the browser and just type promoshow.com just to see if the URL is available. Because it might not be available.
I just bought it. I just bought it, guys.
Sweet. So Steven owns it. Awesome. Anyhow, I really think you guys should head over to promoshow.com, sign up for this trade show. It's going to be kick ass. Okay. I'm allowed to say that. It's fair. All right. It's America. It's going to be kick ass. Okay. So go to promoshow.com. They're hosting their second trade show, or second virtual themed trade show. It's made in the USA products. It's going to be held July 28th from 11 to 3 Eastern. It's going to feature USA made products. Like I said, Promo Show is a great way for distributors to meet face to face, camera to camera. Yep. Same joke. With suppliers to talk about current projects and to get the ideas for how to sell in this current climate, which obviously everybody's looking for right now. And so distributors, go to promoshow.com, click on that banner at the top, the made in the USA banner to register, and suppliers email sales@promocorner.com. If you're interested in a booth for Promo Show. So promoshow.com, the entire industry virtually. Brendan, I appreciate you so much for joining us, man. Steven mentioned that we should have you on as a guest when we were, sort of contemplating who to have this week. And I thought it was a fantastic idea. So Steven, thank you for the idea. Brendan, thank you for being here and to join us and to talk with us about Promo Show and all things Promo Corner. It's always lovely to have you. And thank you so much for all the stuff you do on the back end for us as well. It's hugely appreciated, man.
I appreciate it, you guys. Keep up the great work. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Take care,
Take care.
guys.
Bye.